Hi, my name's Joe from MakeUseOf.com and this is the Spark by DJI. When I first heard about the Spark, I was skeptical. I was disappointed by the lack of 4K and all I could think about were the negatives. The high price, the bad battery life, the fact that you don't get a controller out the box. Having flown the Spark for several weeks now, I'm in awe of its abilities. I was pleasantly surprised by this drone. Let's jump right in. The Spark weighs just 300 grams and measures a mere 143mm or 5.6 inches square. With a 1080p camera, 2-axis gimbal and 15 minutes of flight time, you'd be forgiven for thinking the Spark is a poor deal at $500. No controller is included. Instead, you fly the drone by gesture control or your smartphone. An optional controller can be purchased for $150. The Spark has obstacle avoidance along with GPS and a wealth of other sensors. Like most drones, you have to calibrate the compass before takeoff. This is a simple enough task and ensures the drone knows where it is and where it took off from. Before commencing flight for the first time, you have to register your drone via the DJI Go app. This is annoying, but it doesn't take very long. Once you're ready to fly, the app handles takeoff for you. Flying is very easy, and you can expect to achieve about 100 meters range, depending on your phone. Using the optional controller, you can achieve a whopping 2 kilometers. While this drone is fun to fly, it really comes alive when you take advantage of its size. Flying through small gaps, alongside trees and buildings, and generally squeezing through any hole is tremendous fun. Although you'll want to purchase the prop guards to avoid any accidental damage. The obstacle avoidance works very well at preventing collisions, but it does limit you somewhat from all the fun flying. If you're an experienced drone pilot, or have had a bit of practice with the Spark, you may wish to turn this off. Being such a small drone, the Spark can struggle a bit in the wind. It copes surprisingly well, but you can't expect that much from a drone the size of your phone. The Spark has a 2-axis mechanical gimbal to stabilise the camera. This works very well, but you can tell it's not a 3-axis like many other drones. Several intelligent flight modes are available. These range from tracking to cinematic movements. But just like the Mavic Pro, you can often achieve similar or better results with a bit of practice. Still, these are nice features to have. Image quality from the camera is outstanding. I was very surprised to see just how good it is. Images look crisp and video is very smooth and sharp, despite only being 1080p. Unfortunately, there are very few controls for manually adjusting the camera. Clearly, DJI would prefer you to upgrade if you want something a little more professional or with a few more options. Using the app is an exercise in frustration. While it works well for the most part, it's not without its flaws. For starters, it requires updating regularly. Be it new maps or firmware updates, there's nearly always something it needs. There's also an annoying feature which happens when flying the Mavic Pro or the Spark. DJI asks you to confirm that you have permission to fly and you're not in a restricted airspace. Unfortunately, it only does this after you have taken off. Granted, you can land quite easily, but if you're using the app without a controller, you can no longer fly until you confirm this warning. Using the app, you can adjust calibration settings, check battery life, fly, and more. Adjusting the angle of the camera, however, is buried within an intelligent flight mode. This should be present from the main flight screen. It's possible to control the Spark via gestures. You can configure this in the app or by using a special button combination. You can fly the Spark and take photos by simply moving your hands. While this works well, it is a bit of a gimmick. Gesture control allows you to take off and land the Spark on your hand, which is very cool. As the Spark is so small, you can land on your hand anytime, even when not flying in gesture mode. Simply tell the Spark to land and stick your hand under it. The drone will land on your hand, thinking it is the ground. Just mind your fingers. Flying anything bigger would be extremely dangerous to try catch or land on your hand. As expected, battery life is pretty poor. You can expect to achieve 15 minutes maximum flight time, but in reality, this is more like 10 to 12 minutes. While this is poor, it's not a surprise for a drone this small. and you can always purchase additional batteries for $50 to $60. In summary, the Spark is great fun to fly. Its tiny size means you end up flying it all the time. As it's small enough to take anywhere, you can be really bold with it and achieve shots which may not be possible with drones any bigger. Whether you're a beginner or expert drone pilot, you won't regret buying this drone. If you're looking for professional level features, the Spark may not meet your requirements, but it's still capable of some excellent videos, slightly let down by the app and the price, however. Thanks for watching, and make sure you head on over to MakeUseOf.com, where you can read our full review, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already for more weekly tutorials, reviews and giveaways.